Plastics. Plastics are found in notes, in cars, in airplanes, and almost everything else. The beauty of plastics is that they come in all shapes and sizes. They have the ability to be created into the shape you would like, they can handle weight, and are generally low cost. So, what is the problem with plastics? They are so good that we can't help but rely on them. Plastics take thousands of years to decompose, and so much of the discarded plastics have found its way into the waters and enters the mouth of aquatic animals. Remember how the 40 kg of plastic trash was found in a starving whale's stomach in Philippines? I don't. I. It does not end there though. Remember how I mentioned plastics have a long lifespan? So instead of disappearing, these plastic pieces keep breaking into smaller and smaller and smaller pieces until it forms microplastics. Microplastics are small fragments of plastic debris that are less than 5 millimeters long. Microplastics are found easily consumed by any type of sea life such as fishes and are now found in our food and water system, especially seafood. While its effect on our health is still being investigated, recent studies have found that microplastics are in the placenta of unborn babies, which means that microplastics are not only inside us, it can also be passed on to our offsprings. In Singapore, we barely see piles of plastic trash laden on a piece of land like other countries. So the plastic we use do not directly enter the waters, but are incinerated and hidden in the Semakau landfill. So then my question is, does Singapore have a plastic problem? Yes, I can see you staring at me. I'll take it on from here. So based on my memory files, in the number of times I've done coastal cleanups, I saw large amounts of waste, especially plastic waste that does not look like it comes from Singapore. So honestly, I'm thinking it's not our fault, right? Well, I hate to break it to you, left brain, but I think it was preposterous for you to push the blame onto other countries. When in fact, Singapore does have a significant litter problem despite our strict litter laws. Just go to the beach on a weekend and you can observe trash pouring out overfilled dustbins. They inevitably end up in the waters. Even in non-coastal areas, we see so much litter lying around these days. But even then, most of the plastic is incinerated with general waste before it's buried in Semakau landfill. Now, plastics don't turn into ash, so they do not take up a significant amount of space in Semakau landfill. So then, do we even need to reduce plastic waste in Singapore? Yeah, that is true. We definitely know that burning plastic releases dangerous chemicals and toxic gases that are potentially carcinogenic. Burning waste in Singapore nonetheless produces carbon dioxide gas, a greenhouse gas that's a cause for climate change. What I'm trying to say is we use a lot of plastics in Singapore. And I'm not even going to bother quantifying because the number is so big, we cannot even register it in our minds. But plastic was the biggest category of waste disposed in Singapore in the past years. And if we keep increasing the amount of plastic we use, the more energy and greenhouse gas will be emitted in the incineration process. And let's not talk about the recycling because, as I mentioned earlier, recycling plastics will be very hard. And until now, we have only managed to recycle 6%. 6% of what was put in the recycling bins, not the total plastic waste. So yes, while we do not have plastic pollution problem in Singapore, it does not justify us using tons of plastic every year. Imagine producing something just to discard it away. We are extracting oil from the earth just to create these plastic bags, straws, forks, spoons that we can only use once, just to throw it away and burn them in the incineration plants. We are basically just taking our resources, using it once, and then throwing it away. So as I wanted to say, Singapore is the world's fifth largest oil refinery export hub and ranks within the top 10 globally by chemical exports volume. And while this doesn't register much in both of our minds, we know that this means that we play a huge part in the production of plastics. And did you know that while oil demand may be falling over the years because of the rise in electric vehicles and even renewable energy, the companies such as ExxonMobil are banking on plastics to sell their oil in the future. In fact, they are expecting to drive half of the oil demand growth using plastics till 2050. So that means that our indication to increase the demand for plastic would mean that oil production would never decrease because more and more oil would be used to produce plastics. Thank you, Right Brain, for that heartfelt speech. Now, I'll now be passing the time to two of my amazing friends. I mean, two of Komal's amazing friends who have been working on the plastic issue in Singapore.